Hello everybody, welcome back to another video for the day. Now we're going right back into r/niceguystories because I want to. Alright, you know the deal. Like the video, comment down below during the video if you want to start up a good old discussion, and afterwards consider subscribing. Let's go! Our first story comes to us from username Green Pistachio Macaroon. Nice guy ex-bestie of 10 years assaults me. Him and friends say it's my fault. I know so many women that go through bullshit like this, and after watching Reddit videos on YouTube, I felt the need to share my story. In my early 20s, I traveled a lot. I traveled to Tokyo, Japan in 2008, where I met this young Scottish kid named Craig. Craig and I hit it off, and he invites me to Glasgow, and we hang out and have great times. He shows me the city, his friends, etc. In the end, I became really good friends with his best friend, Colin. Me and Colin just had much more in common than me and Craig, so as the years passed, me and Col naturally developed an amazing friendship. He even came to Canada to visit me in 2011, and we had a blast. Nothing could ruin our friendship. We were always there for each other through breakups, hardships, the end of the world, everything. We always stayed in contact in some way, shape, or form, and I truly loved Col with all my heart. In the summer of 2018, I was almost roped by my former French friend from France. We got drunk, I passed out, and woke up with him on top of me, unbuckling his belt, and my shirt was off. I pushed him off, kicked him out, and never spoke to him again. It was about 3 a.m., and my immediate response was to message Colin. I couldn't deal with the shock of what almost transpired in my own home. I divulged everything to Colin, a crying mess with boogers and tears streaming down my face, and Colin was angry as all heck, and through the crying, I told Colin, I know we haven't seen each other in almost 7 years, but if we ever met again and drank, promise me you will never touch me without my permission. He was offended I'd even ask such a thing, and agreed, of course. Fast forward to November of 2018, and I make a surprise visit to Glasgow to see Colin, whom I hadn't seen since 2011. I would never do this for someone on a whim, but Colin was my bro, and our chats always reflected that kind of friendship between us. Colin is ecstatic and notifies Craig that I'm in town, to which Craig decides to come hang out with us at this bar in the suburbs of Glasgow. So we're drinking, and Craig says, my mom's in Florida, I can drink another drink cause I'm driving. Let's go back to our home, and that way we can all drink and catch up. I think this is a brilliant idea, and so does Colin, so off we go. We get to Craig's mom's house, and we're all having a blast. I begin to remove my blazer and my blouse. After my almost robe, I started dressing much more professional and closed up because I didn't want any unwanted attention, because it was getting warm and I knew I was in the company of two people I should be able to trust. I was wrong. While in the midst of talking to Craig about something, I'm in my tank top at this point. Colin decides in his drunken stupor to come up behind me and restrict my arms so I can't move, and full on grab my chest and let's go. I freeze, Craig freezes, and Colin suddenly realizes what he had just done. I try to play it off like it didn't affect me because I was in a foreign country and I was drunk. When I got back home to Canada, I knew it wasn't the same. I started developing panic attacks, PTSD, and anxiety anytime I went outside or anytime a man got too close to me. Shot got so bad I had to be medicated. Glad to say I've come a long way and I'm better today. But what really rubs salt and lemon into the wounds is when Colin tells me that he feels he can no longer trust me anymore because Craig and I had a thing when I saw him again in Glasgow. I flip on Colin and tell him, I am not your girlfriend. We are friends. I am free to mess around with whomever I want. Regret messing around or not. If I say yes in a moment to someone, that is my choice, not yours, and you broke your promise to me. Colin had nothing much to say after that, and Craig defended him, saying since Colin didn't have much experience with women, I shouldn't be too surprised. Colin was 28 at the time, a grown man. He should know better. Craig made it worse by telling me that it's my own fault for being assaulted because I out myself into that situation. I stopped drinking in December of 2018 because I'm terrified of drinking with men anymore. I refuse. I had to go through ridiculous amounts of therapy to rid myself of the shame and guilt that didn't belong to me. Colin and Craig, you two are some of the worst pieces of shot I have ever come to know in my life, especially you, Craig. I wished after several years you had changed, but you hadn't. I wanted so much to be wrong about you when we had stopped talking all those years ago, but you just proved me right. Colin, I will never freaking forgive you for what you did. You guilted me, shamed me, and destroyed my confidence, but I've learned very valuable lessons. Like, I should have kicked you in the balls when I had the chance. You know, I really am sorry that this all happened to you, and I'm really glad that you were able to come forward with this after seeing YouTube videos that were covering similar stories like this, and honestly, that alone is some type of motivation for me to keep doing these type of videos, because if I can help people come forward with their own experiences, I just I kind of feel like I'm making the world a little bit of a better place. Even if it's the smallest amount, it's still better than what it was prior to it. I hope you're doing better. I really do. Our next story comes to us from username Cyanive. My experience with the nice guy. Hey, this happened a couple years ago, but let's introduce important people to the story. The names aren't real for reasons, and although I wasn't the one who was harassed, I have asked the girl if I can post this story since she doesn't use Reddit. Me, back then I was 17, Amy is the girl, back then she was 16, emo boy or nice guy is nice guy, back then 18, and Jamie, the guy back then, was 16. I first met them in the large friend group of which they were a part of at an anime/gaming convention. We were all fans of Japanese visual novel mystery game called Danganronpa. I joined the group and quickly friended Jamie. He was back then a bit whack and now is a pothead, funny dude, and is still my friend. I also became interested in Amy pretty fast. She was cosplaying a witch girl from the third installment of Danganronpa. Amy is pretty small girl, and so is the character she cosplayed as. During the convention, emo boy didn't seem weird, just more quiet and a shy person. Back then, he seems fun after he got used to talking to me. Important things that happened during the convention was that I started to develop feelings for Amy that I later learned that she became interested in me. After the convention, I joined the group's group chat where I continued to chat with the group, but soon due to drama, the group broke up and me, Amy, emo boy, and Jamie created our own group chat. Around this time, I told Amy about my feelings. She didn't reply and didn't talk in the group chat for about a week, and then we talked this over with the two of us that she was also interested, but we still weren't sure if we should date since we lived in different cities. Soon after that, I got a message from emo boy. I should mention that why I call him emo boy is because he had a gross straight hair over his eye and tried to act cute. He also didn't shave facial hair, but well, he didn't have a beard, just some shoddy stubble here and there. The message said something like, "Don't touch Amy." Also, around this time, he started to send messages to Amy of why he was better than me and that I was an a-hole. In voice chats, he would try to flirt with Amy even though she was clearly uncomfortable with it. Also, his flirting was wired, if it can be called flirting. He would say that the character which Amy cosplayed was her favorite character and how Amy just didn't fit it perfectly. It felt like he didn't differentiate between the game character and Amy. Me and Amy would just roast his or laugh. I know it might have been rude, but we are Reddit trash, so when an obvious nice guy TM comes, we just want to make fun of it. Emo boy's flirting continued and got increasingly weirder. He would talk about adoption and wanting to meet to go to Amy's city and visit her without her knowing when he comes to make it seem like a cute romantic surprise. He would also talk a lot about me and Amy to try and threaten her with offing himself in her DMs every night. Of course, Amy shared screenshots with me and Jamie, and I would clown, try to stop and tell him about how what he is doing is not okay and how it's weird because of the age and that he can't try to guilt trip others into relationships. After this had been going on for several months, we kicked him from the group chat, which caused him to go nuts. He would spam Amy with typical nice guy stuff like guilt tripping with offing himself threats and how depressed he was because of Amy not giving him a chance, etc. He would contact me and tell me how much he hated me because I had stolen his Amy from him. They had known each other longer than I had known the group. This harassment continued and Amy of course blocked him in all social medias, but emo boy continued to make new accounts to talk to her. At one point, he even would cry about how they were fated to be together and post pics of the witch girl. This continued for like half a year until he probably just got bored. Amy and I never started to date since this was traumatic experiences for her, and due to the time both of us moved on, we rarely talked in the group chat. She was recovered, but her trauma and fear of being romantically involved with anyone, which I'm happy for her, is I'm still friends with Jamie, but I see him only 1 or 2 times a year. But what made me want to write this is that I met emo boy last January, and I'm now 19 and he is 20, I think, but he looked like the nice guy side is just getting worse. He had now long hair, which looked like it wasn't cut since the incident. He disgusts me, but at the same time, I feel bad that he seems to like the same toxic person and didn't take advice, which Jamie and I gave to him about changing to become a better person to heart. TLDR, I joined a new group. Me and this one girl like each other, but then the nice guy starts harassing her by trying to guilt trips and obsessing over the character she cosplayed, being the typical nice guy until the girl is pretty much traumatized for a year. P.S. I have probably 100 or so screenshots, but the text isn't in English since our native language isn't English. Also, sorry for grammatical errors. It's okay, I'm a trooper. See, it's people like this emo boy person that give people who go to anime conventions a bad name to people who don't exactly know what an anime convention is and they just see what they can get from a glance. I'm honestly really hoping that you don't have to deal with this guy anymore, cause honestly he just kinda seems like he's just gonna complain about everything until he gets what he wants, which is not going to happen, so he's probably gonna be persistent as can be. And if anything, don't let that incident stop you from going to any future anime conventions in fear of something like that coming up again. And with that is going to have to be it with the video. If you would like what you had seen, be sure to hit that like button, comment down below what you liked about the video, and start up a discussion, and consider subscribing to the channel and turning on those notifications. I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.